Hey guys, how's it going? It's Snugs here, and we're going to talk about an updated version of the Hybrid Assassin build guide. We're going to talk about some changes I made for this ladder's crazy mapping system, and some better ways to survive, and some ways that you can actually do high density on your own. I've been doing over 1,000 density solo on this particular build, and I'm going to give you some ideas on how you can do that for yourself as well. But anyway, guys, we're going to jump into it, and if you have any questions, make sure you stop by the Twitch stream, guys. I stream live all the time, twitch.tv/its_snugs. And yeah, come by with your questions, man, and if you have any, even if you have any tips or ways that you would like to run it, definitely open to hearing those ideas as well. But anyway, guys, let's jump in here. We're going to start with the gear. And if you guys have seen my previous guide, I was opting for Last Wish in the weapon slot. And I'm going to talk about a couple different ideas that I have and a couple different differences that you're going to see that other people are using. But Natalia's Mark III open socket with low, low, low. The reason we're doing low, low, low is for the Deadly Strike. You can see that at the bottom there. Out of the way. There you go. The reason why I'm opting for Natalia's Mark III open socket, the Scissor Sariwa, is because we want Blades of Ice. I believe we want Blades of Ice. And the main reason that I think they actually want Blades of Ice for this particular ladder is because we need physical. T5 physical is super important, as well as having the cold from Blades of Ice and T4 if we run into a physical and fire immune, like Doom Knight, things like that. So just something to keep in mind. You can go the old school route and go Last Wish here. You're going to actually end up with quite a bit more blade shield damage. But I'm preferring the Blades of Ice option with having a claw on. And then basically Nat's Claw does the most damage out of any of the claws. So yeah, that's basically why that's in this slot. This is a repeat of last ladder. This is Harlequin Crest Shaco with a Cham, so it cannot be frozen. Being frozen is really annoying on this build. And because this build is not the best with resistances, and we're going to want resistances for especially this ladder. We have a 3 to all skills Maras. Unfortunately, it's a 20 all res, so it's perfect. Just perfectly bad. But the reason that I went with this is because it was available to me, and I got it for a far, far less than what, you know, a 27, 28, 29, 30 Mars is going to be, you know, less than half the price. So that's why I opted for a 20 all res here. Again, giving us more res. Yeah, the lightning res isn't quite as good, but actually, it turns out fire res is really, really helpful here, and so is poison. Because of Phoenix, poison's not as important, but we can talk about that later. Next up is a Bolcathos. I particularly have a 10 faster run walk Bolcathos here. This is a brand new addition to the build. BK, regardless of the corruption, I think is the choice here over something like Stone of Jordan. Reason is because of the life, basically, and the life leech. Yeah, pretty much plain and simple. Also, instead of the 10% faster run walk, yeah, it's nice, but I think that I would actually rather have PDR here. I think anywhere that you can get PDR without sacrificing some of the other attributes that we're using is a really great way of going. So either go faster run walk, PDR, faster cast rate's not going to do anything for us here, or just go CNC, or rare rings. It's always a good option as well. Wisp Projector, an insanely good rolled one. The run walk is not great on it, but I don't actually care that much about the run walk. The Light Zorb is nearly perfect, and the MF is perfect here. I want, because we're dropping Last Wish also has MF on it, so I'm getting a little bit of that MF back with having a really well-rolled Wisp. I might go with like a 30 MF Wisp here, or again, a PDR Wisp, but PDR Wisps are very expensive. Enigma, there's a huge reason why I believe Enigma is the choice here and not Fortitude. Some people are going Fortitude for mapping. I would say that if you are in a team atmosphere, Fortitude is probably the superior choice for this ladder. You're getting res, plus you're getting damage for your Blades of Ice and Blade Shield. But the reason that I think for solo mapping, which the guys who come to my stream and watch me, I am almost 99% solo. I think that Enigma, for the biggest reason, is because we can get our Merc away. So like, right, we can get our Merc away from enemies, because as we teleport away or warp, our merc comes with us. So one of the biggest problems with this ladder is that it's very hard to keep our merc alive solo. If we have a conviction map or a lower res map, it's almost nearly impossible to keep your merc alive. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but yeah. So Arachnid's Mesh would be the next thing. I have Piercing on here. It's kind of for the lulz. It's not really doing a whole lot, but your Blade Shield can actually pierce, so the 8% is a good way to go. Laying of Hands, all res 240s. These are pretty nice ones. I'll try to improve these maybe at some point, but it's not super high on my list. Laying of Hands is definitely the choice here. The damage to demons and the fire res is huge. Also, the IAS is going to help us get to that break point. We have Burst of Speed is going to be one of our skills. That's going to increase our attack speed by 49%. That's one reason that I dropped the High Lords. The Maras, I believe we're getting one extra skill, so we're getting more fire damage, right, from our traps. We're getting attributes, and we're getting all res. And because of the low, and the Nats mark, plus our, where is it? Our Claw Mastery, because we're using a Claw Mastery this ladder, we're getting 31% chance critical strike. Now, you might notice that critical strike and deadly strike, they're not the same thing. Well, we're almost at 100% if you combine the two. They are not the same thing, but what they do is calculate. So if you have 100% deadly strike and 30% critical strike, basically what's going to happen is it's going to choose one or the other. So you have 60% or 30%. It's kind of like having 100% deadly strike, even though it's not quite the same. But you won't notice much of a difference going to this setup with your Blades of Ice damage or your Blade Shield damage. I just think that it works out pretty well to go this way. But anyway, next up is going to be War Travs. Eventually, I'm going to go all res here. I just haven't been able to afford them. But I'm going to go all res War Travs with a higher MF. These are 33s, CNCs. They're not great, but they're just kind of what I have for now. And then Phoenix. Phoenix is huge here. I wouldn't say that Phoenix makes or breaks the build, but it certainly helps. Minus 28 to enemy fire resistance, so we're getting quite a bit of damage off of it. But the Redemption Aura is huge. Also, we're dealing with Hydras, stuff like that, so the Fire's Orb is nice. This is kind of a badly rolled one, I'm going to be honest with you. This is the first one that I rolled. Eventually, I'll try and roll a better one, but again, I have other things higher on the list right now. The Redemption Aura basically keeps us alive, it keeps us full of mana, and when that Poison Res, because you'll see my Poison Res isn't too high here, when that poison damage is draining us of life, that Phoenix is going to basically negate the poison damage that we're going to be getting in almost every map this ladder. So for that reason, Phoenix, it's just, it's a go-to. On swap, I have CTA and Lidless Wall. Lidless Wall is there instead of Spirit because I'm using a minus requirements shield here. I should have gone with a minus 10, but whatever. I'll figure that out later. Again, I'm actually kind of happy it rolled bad because the base isn't like perfect. It's not the greatest, but anyway, it's nitpicking at that point, right? But CTA, this was the first one I rolled this ladder, and it rolled 6 battle orders, so super happy. And then Lidless Wall just to get the bow and battle commands. Now, what you could do is do like Chaos Claws or basically get your Cleansing Aura on swap, and you can also put blade shield, plus blade shields here. And the reason that you're gonna want to do that is to try and get to the next breakpoint. I have chosen not to do that. I am currently at level 40. So because of the Maras, I was at 39. 39 is when you move to the next amount of blades. They changed it from like 12 and 24. It's like every 12 you get another blade that shoots out. I have found that level 39, which I believe is 4 blades, is sufficient. I don't need more than that. If you want to go for 5 blades, sure, that's cool. But I love having the bow, and survivability is huge here. The only thing I wish is I had Cleansing Aura here. That's the only thing. So I may swap this out at some point, but that was what I chose to do this ladder. Down here, we're just going to have life, res, magic find, a ton of res. We're trying to make up that res down here that we're lacking on our other parts of the gear. Basically, that's it. So I'll just kind of quickly show you what I got. Life, res, magic find. This needs to go. This needs to be another res. I'll probably go with like light res, magic find here. Or light res life, something like that. Faster hit recovery. And we'll talk about actually faster hit recovery now that we're on charms. I have a 1720, very nice torch, and a 16-18-5, kind of a mid-roll torch. Faster hit recovery. I need one more. The reason that I need one more is because we'll hit 24 plus one small charm. One faster hit recovery small charm will get us to the 27 breakpoint. So basically, we're not using any hit recovery in our gear, but we're getting it through 2 grand charms and 1 small charm. And I believe that 27 is sufficient, personally. I haven't had a problem with it. And then all my other traps are just kind of, or all my other GCs are just kind of plain. And then a very, very nice Geeds that I found earlier in the ladder. 156, 15, 39, almost perfect. Very, very nice. But anyway, let's show the skills now, and I'll start off in the Shadow Disciplines page. We're gonna have one into Burst of Speed, and then Claw Mastery. Your final points are gonna go into here. You're gonna max your fire synergies here, and then you're gonna go 1, 1, get up to 39 in your Blade Shield, and then 1, 1, 1, basically. And then you're gonna dump your final points into Claw Mastery. The reason that I'm putting my final points into Claw Mastery instead of Blade Shield is because you just simply end up with more in-game damage doing it that way. If this ends up getting maxed out, which I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to do, then I'll start going into Blade Shield just for the extra DPS, or I could even go into Blades of Ice for the extra DPS, but I would probably go Blade Shield over Blades of Ice, extra points. But that's about it. I would respec. If I was to respec and go Last Wish here again, I would probably start bumping up Blade Fury again. That's what I did last ladder, and it worked really, really well for me. The only bummer is if you run into a fire and a physical immune. It happens, but it is what it is. Other than that, the skills are very, very, very straightforward. I'm going to take you guys into a chaos here real quick, and just to kind of show the build for the people who haven't seen it. But I'm not going to go into a map this video. You can stop by the live stream. I do maps every day that I'm streaming there. So if you want to see that, stop by the stream. But just trust me, it'll do 1,000+ density solo. It's an extremely strong build, and it's honestly one of my favorite in the game. It's been hard for me to get away from this build, but it crushes chaos even though we have a ton of fire immunes. Infinity on the Merc, which actually I just reminded myself. We're going to talk about the Mercenary here real quick, and I'm going to show you what I did here, guys. You don't have to do this, but I think that this is a really good option. I have a 4 open socket upped shaft stop with 2 in it. I am probably going to go 2 more in it. And then, excuse the joke, and then I have a Steel Shade, kind of a meh rolled one, but it's 2 open socket. I will probably put another in here. I'm going to check my breakpoints with Thresher and see if I can go 1 IAS, that'll get me to 45 IAS if I'll get to the next attack speed breakpoint, and then I'll have 4 1 more IAS, and then I have a melee splash IAS in here already. And then Infinity. Infinity does break some of fire immunes, like in T4 it breaks the flares, it breaks the little crab looking guys. I don't know how to describe them, but it does break some fire immunes. Not only that, but it nearly doubles our damage. So I think Infinity on an Act 2 Mercenary is still the best choice. You could go with an Act 5 Mercenary with Might Aura, like, you know, Lawbringer. You could do that, but I like this choice here. It just does insane damage. But the biggest reason that I'm still using Steel Shade, even though Steel Shade was nerfed this ladder, is because, yes, it still has IAS on it, but because of the Fire Sword. Hydras in T4 are a huge problem for Mercenaries right now. One of the issues that I'm kind of feeling about this particular ladder is that the difficulty in maps went up so drastically, but how strong Mercenaries, they didn't increase, you know, how tough they are or how much damage they do or anything at all. They're still the same Mercenaries. So my solution to this would be to do like an Ami and 2 ring slots. If that's possible, I'm not sure. I'm not a dev. I don't know. But the reason why that would be so important is because you could do Zorb rings. So you could do like a Rising Sun. You could do a Raven Frost. You could do, that would get rid of the Cham here, actually. I'll probably do Cham in the helm and then 2 more ums. And just skip the IS breakpoint. I don't care if he does damage at all. All I care about is that he stays alive and provides me with that Conviction Aura from Infinity. But I think that the Mercenary problem in the current map situation is a huge problem, especially for us solo players. But as you can see, I'm basically just going to use fire traps, and then blades of ice, everything else, and that's gonna pretty much instantly kill everything. Pretty decent chaos runner, but an amazing T4 runner. This build can do pretty much every map, and do it pretty well. I would say the one kind of annoying one to do on this build would be Dim Cellar. It's not one of my favorites to do on this build. But T4, T5, Icy Cellar, the other would be, so T1, T2 have never been my favorite. Frigid and Desecrated Temple have never been my favorite on this build. It can do it, especially when your Blade Shield and your Blades of Ice is strong enough. But it's not my favorite. It's not the most viable, I'd say. It's not as fast. I just wouldn't target farm T1, T2 on this build, and Dim Cellar. Those are the three that I would kind of stay away from, especially if you're not really geared up. But yeah, I'm gonna run down here, kill some more stuff, pop Diablo. I'll show you how stupidly fast this kills Diablo. It's quite stupid. I don't think there's another word for it. And if I miss anything, guys, post it in the comments and I will try to respond. Infector's physical immune, but he's not cold immune, so he gets absolutely murked. And we'll go kill Diablo here real quick. So we're going to lay down our Wake of Inferno. We're going to wait for him to come up. Wake of Inferno is really good for single target. And you're going to barely even see him. Dead. Insane, right? But anyway, guys, that's the build. Leave your comments in the comment section and give the video a thumbs up. I do appreciate it, and hit that subscribe button. And I will see you guys on the next video. I'm going to be doing another one very, very soon. We're going to talk about the best builds of the ladder, I think is going to be the next video. But until then, guys, have an awesome night, morning, afternoon, whatever, wherever you are. And peace out, folks. Later.